Part 35. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 341. It's so popular on the internet, so it's naturally impossible for Luteng city officials to ignore it. Seeing that netizens had guessed the truth of the matter one after another, they simply admitted it openly. Less than 10 minutes after the concert ended, they posted an explanation about the incident on their official account. We have received letters from netizens one after another. Regarding this meteorological anomaly, it is not the Meteorological Bureau's prediction error, but our manual intervention. Due to our successful intervention, the heavy rain that should have fallen in the north moved to the south. I wrote thousands of words eloquently, but I can sum it up in just a few sentences. This is our fault and has nothing to do with the Meteorological Bureau. We are very sorry for the confusion caused to you. It seems to be a statement and apology, but it is full of pride and pride. As for the specific method of rainfall through artificial intervention, there is no clear explanation. But for netizens, this is no longer important. Did you see it? They admitted it. They stopped pretending. Sure enough, they invited Yang Lin over earlier just to ask Yang Lin to help them pray for rain. Good guy, just ask for rain, and it's specially disguised as a concert. They are also really awesome. One of them dares to think and the other dares to do it. Just to have the heavy rainfall in another place during a ritual ceremony is simply more awesome than the Dragon King. Just ask for rain, and even intervene manually. Are you afraid that we won't be able to accept it? If they don't make a statement, the Meteorological Bureau will probably shut itself down. There is no way. The Meteorological Bureau never imagined that one person could change the weather of an entire country. No more, no more, I'll give Yang Lin a blow now. If it weren't for him, my home would have been flooded by now. I'll accompany you too. My family raises chickens. If the heavy rain really continues, I'll probably lose all my pants this year. It's okay for you. My family is a fish farmer. If the fish pond really overflows, there won't be a single fish left. I have already told my parents, as well as my grandparents, about this. Now they have to keep Yang Lin's photos at home. It's no longer enough to provide photos. I think we need to build a temple for him here. That's right, just like Jinghai City did, they built a temple and a monument for him. I suggest everyone donate a little. It's such a happy decision. As Luteng city officials proactively admitted that this time the weather anomaly was caused by Yang Lin, the entire Dragon Kingdom internet once again became a sensation. Both netizens from the south and those from the north are full of gratitude to Yao Ming. Many places have even offered to build living temples for Yang Lin. As for the gratitude of netizens, Yang Lin at this moment naturally did not know. After the ritual was over, the power he temporarily borrowed quickly disappeared. What followed was a decline in realm. In just a few seconds, he fell from the true immortal realm to the Yin God realm again. Before he could feel the sense of loss caused by the rapid loss of power, waves of karma surged like a tide and poured into his body. The number was even more than 10 times greater than that of the previous typhoon. From this, you can also imagine how many people's lives this program has changed. If these karma can be absorbed and transformed, I am afraid that it will not be possible to break through to the Yangshen realm in an instant. But after taking a look around, Yang Lin knew that now was not the time for a breakthrough. In desperation, he could only forcefully suppress the urge to break through immediately and desperately control the karma within his body. It was just when he had just added a vast sea of karma to control his body. An equally huge black and yellow energy was born out of thin air in front of him. In his field of vision, this black and yellow energy almost covered the sky and occupied most of the sky. And he is also very familiar with this mysterious and yellow aura. It is the power of merit. This act of praying for rain saved hundreds of millions of people. If you count the birds and beasts, it would be more than hundreds of billions. Such a great act of kindness will naturally reap tremendous merit. More than any time before. As the merit entered their bodies, these people immediately became aware of it. Taoist Master Yang is indeed the reincarnation of the ancestral heavenly master who came down to the earth to overcome the suffering and save the people of the world. But because Yang Lin had promised before, they knew exactly what they had just obtained. While the audience was talking to each other, the group of Taoist priests beside Yang Lin also looked happy. What the hell just happened? This. My rhinitis seems to be better, and the hemorrhoids are no longer painful. I feel like my whole being has been elevated. At the same time, a figure appeared out of thin air at a height of 10,000 meters, beyond the reach of their eyes. Where's Mr. Yang? Do you feel this way too? I thought it was my illusion. Did you just see where he went? One chair fell on the group of Taoist priests around Yang Lin. The road can be expected, the road can be expected. But soon, their expressions froze. My eyes don't seem to be nearsighted anymore. Others feel that their brains have become clearer, and things that they usually couldn't understand suddenly became clear at this moment. Did you feel it? It seemed like something entered my body just now. For a moment, the group of Taoist priests also looked at each other in shock. But unlike before, not all of these merits fell on Yang Lin alone. It's not really because we succeeded in praying for rain, so we got the reward. It's because of the scripture we just recited with Yang Lin. Some feel that their eyes and ears are clear, while others feel that their bodies have become much lighter. The other part is broken down to the live audience, 33,000 spectators. I read in novels that you will gain merit after doing good deeds. It doesn't just enter the body, right? Is this the power of merit? I seem to have realized it. Both the group of Taoist priests and the audience present felt that their bodies seemed to be different at this moment. Sooner or later, I will become an immortal like the heavenly master. I have been practicing hard on the mountain for decades, but it is not as good as going down to perform a great meritorious deed. No. He was here just now, why did he disappear in the blink of an eye? In addition to the joy, everyone's eyes immediately looked at the middle position of the high platform again. I saw that these merits were divided into several parts. In an instant, these people were in an uproar. Is there really such a thing in the world? Then we will make a lot of money. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 342. 10,000 meters above the ground, Yang Lin looked at the green vine city shrouded in rain below, with an expression neither sad nor happy. Originally, his realm was about to reach the peak of Yin Shen realm. And this practice has absorbed too much karma. With just a thought, the laws transformed from these karma can easily allow him to break through to the Yang Shen realm. The Yang Shen tribulation will usher in then, and the sports center is obviously not a good place to overcome the tribulation. After some thinking, he quickly thought of a good place. That is Geelong Mountain, which I have visited once before. Not only are the mountains and rivers beautiful there, but the feng shui is also excellent, which can weaken the power of the natural disaster to the greatest extent. Thinking of this, Yang Lin no longer hesitated and flew in the direction of Geelong Mountain. At this moment, there was heavy rain in Geelong Mountain, so there was no human habitation in the entire mountain. Occasionally, there are only one or two small mountain beasts welcoming this rare rain. After seeing Yang Lin falling from the sky, these little beasts also fled in all directions. After finding the empty space where the celestial master's tomb was, Yang Lin casually arranged it and sat cross-legged on the ground. An invisible air film blocks the rain falling from the sky. Perhaps sensing Yang Lin's arrival, the strange bird that previously guarded the Tianqi's tomb came again. After seeing Yang Lin sitting cross-legged on the ground, his eyes were full of curiosity. Apparently it doesn't quite understand why this human being came here in the heavy rain. Not long after it arrived, the mother tiger also emerged from the jungle nearby. A bird and a tiger stand on the left and right sides of the poplar forest. Yang Lin ignored this at all. While concentrating, the karma you just obtained begins to transform into mana. The huge tide of cause and effect turns into surging mana. With the blessing of these magical powers, Yang Lin's own momentum and realm continued to rise. Only 1/3 of the karma was consumed, and his realm successfully broke through from the Yin God realm to the Yang God realm. At this moment, he felt as if he had entered another world. Both the physical body and the spiritual consciousness have become extremely powerful. So powerful that the whole world cannot tolerate him. Boom! A loud thunder suddenly sounded in the sky. The originally gloomy sky was now filled with large black clouds again. Centered on Jilong Mountain where Yang Lin was located, the black cloud spread to a radius of 500 kilometers, and then enveloped the entire Luteng city and a surrounding city. A terrifying aura that makes people's hearts tremble is slowly brewing in this black cloud. The extent far exceeded the previous catastrophes. So much so that the birds and beasts in the mountains and the residents in the city can feel the feeling of heart palpitations. For a moment, they felt as if someone had put a gun to their heads. Immediately all the hairs on his body stood up. The spectators who had not dispersed in the sports center and the group of Taoist priests also felt the same way. The strong sense of suffocation made each of them look frightened. What's going on? It's already started to rain, so why is it getting dark again? Is it possible that it will rain even more? How is this possible, and it doesn't look like it's going to rain? What's going on when I suddenly feel scared? There is something in the sky. No, I feel like I'm going to pee. Wait, why is your hair all standing up? Yours too, I feel like my scalp is a little numb. While everyone was terrified, strange scenes were also happening quietly. First, all the hairs stood up, and then a visible electric current appeared in the air. Then all the electronic equipment failed at the same time. When everyone realized something was wrong, the sky suddenly became extremely bright. A burst of lightning that was even thicker than the previous heavy rain spread across the entire sky. Then the entire sky was filled with thunder and lightning, a scene of doomsday. Under the gaze of countless eyes, the thunder and lightning suddenly began to gather in one direction. Gradually it turned into a funnel shape. The dense purple lightning was about to turn into reality. Just one glance can make people's hearts tremble. Soon they discovered that the thunder and lightning were all pointing in the same direction. Click. Before anyone could react, endless thunder and lightning poured in the direction just now like a heavy rain. A bolt of lightning struck almost every second. The sound of thunder is almost as dense as New Year's firecrackers. At this moment, there is only one voice in the world. Everyone who witnessed the scene was instantly dumbfounded. At the same time, Yang Lin himself, who was on the other side of Jilong Mountain, was already bathed in electric light. Although he had been mentally prepared in advance, he did not expect that this round of Yangshen tribulation would be so violent. He actually had to catch up with the previous true immortal tribulation. His expression turned gloomy involuntarily. He knew he was being targeted. In that case, let's have a good fight. As soon as he finished speaking, the male and female swords guarding him flew out one after another, heading straight towards the thousands of thunder tribulations. In an instant, brilliant lights appeared in the sky. The power of the immortal treasure is fully displayed at this moment. With one stroke of the sword, several rays of lightning were wiped out. The thunder calamity that could destroy everything was so vulnerable in front of the two fairy swords. But Lei Ji is not a vegetarian after all. Seeing that there was nothing he could do about it, Yang Lin immediately increased the intensity and quantity of the thunder tribulation. The next second, another round of thunderstorms poured down. Yang Lin did not panic and threw out a jade seal again. Like the male and female fairy swords, the jade seal immediately revealed the power of the fairy treasure in the air and turned into a light shield to protect Yang Lin. No matter how rampant the thunderstorm was, Yang Lin could not be hurt at all. Under the protection of the two immortal treasures, Yang Lin sat there steadily without any need to exert any effort. On the contrary, the strange bird and the tiger mother who had come over to watch the excitement were now so frightened that they could not move, their eyes full of fear. Seeing this, Yang Lin casually injected 2 merits into their bodies. He even had the time to share some cultivation experience with them. As he talked, the scope of the heavenly tribulation actually expanded again. From a radius of 500 kilometers, it expanded directly to 1,000 kilometers, and thunder and lightning became more and more rampant. Seeing this situation, Yang Lin sighed deeply helplessly. It's not over yet, this is just the Yangshen tribulation. After saying that, he dropped the tiger and the bird, jumped into the air, and at the same time took out the last golden volume. One person sent 3 fairy treasures flying into the clouds. And the thunder tribulation in the sky became more and more violent at this moment, as if it was going to tear Yang Lin to pieces completely. This scene lasted for nearly half an hour. After half an hour, the thunderstorm finally dissipated, and a figure fell steadily back into the valley. In an instant, an extremely powerful momentum swept across most of the Dragon Kingdom. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q in Love is. Chapter 343. In the mountains and forests, the downpour never stopped for a moment, and the thunderstorm in the sky did not know when to dissipate. Raindrops the size of broad beans hit the leaves, making a pitter-pattering sound. A figure stood there quietly, motionless, letting the raindrops hit him. On a nearby pine tree, a little squirrel seemed to be curious about this figure. After some attempts, it carefully jumped from the pine tree onto him. It can be seen from its small eyes that it is ready to escape at any time. But soon it discovered that the figure didn't seem to move. Gradually it became bolder. At the same time, more and more small animals are approaching in this direction in the forest. Foxes, hedgehogs, goats, and even some large carnivores. They all gathered around this figure. It was as if this figure had an inexplicable attraction to them. After 10 minutes, the number of birds and beasts surrounding here has reached hundreds. However, at this moment, the figure that looked like a stone sculpture suddenly started to move. A pair of eyes like an ancient well quickly scanned the surrounding area, and his expression did not change at all after seeing a small animal next to him. When he slowly raised his right hand, a little bird with white feathers happened to look at him. You little guys are quite discerning. After saying that, the figure performed a trick. In an instant, a golden light emanated from his body. The birds and beasts bathed in the golden light immediately showed expressions of enjoyment. At the same time, they also have a hint of agility in their bodies. After a while, they dispersed. Only one strange bird, a big tiger, remained. Looking at the figure, both the strange bird and the big tiger had a trace of doubt in their eyes. They seemed to be able to feel that the figure had changed qualitatively from before, but they couldn't tell what was different. Just as they were thinking hard, the figure sat down cross-legged again. There was no movement from him. With him as the center of the circle, all the rainwater within a radius of 500 meters was trapped in the air. I didn't expect this Yangshen tribulation to be so terrifying. It was more than 10 times stronger than the previous life. If it weren't for these 3 immortal treasures, I would have died. Recalling the Yangshen tribulation he just passed through, Yang Lin still has lingering fears. However, after feeling the changes in himself, this trace of fear quickly disappeared without a trace. There is no doubt that at this moment, he has broken through from the Yin God realm to the Yang God realm. In his previous life, this realm would have had another name, the realm of fake immortal. It means that he is only one step away from the true immortal, and he is the top existence in the world of monasticism. His strength is infinitely stronger than that of Yin Shen, and he can also use many tyrannical methods. His lifespan has also skyrocketed from 500 years to 2000 years. The most important point is that after reaching the Yang Shen realm, the mana in the body gradually begins to transform towards immortal power. According to normal circumstances, after surviving the Yang Shen tribulation, there will be about 1/5 of the immortal power in the body. But now the immortal power in Yang Lin's body is close to 1/3. Obviously, this is the benefit brought by the enhanced version of the heavenly tribulation just now. The only thing that made him a little helpless was that all the karma he had just obtained had been consumed in the process. But the vast amount of merit is still there. That's all. This is how fate should be. Just slowly collect the karma. The plan for now is to first think about which magical power to condense. After letting out a long sigh, Yang Lin also started thinking seriously. He has developed quite a few magical powers so far. The universe in the sleeves, Zhengjin sword energy, the art of controlling objects, and the incarnation outside the body. Basically everything that should be there is already there. The only thing missing is a way to protect himself. After thinking about it, a great magical power appeared in his heart. The laws of heaven and earth. As the name suggests, this magical power is to imitate the power of heaven and earth, making one's body become infinitely vast. If you practice to the extreme, you can be as small as a mustard seed and Sumiru, but as big as you can carry mountains to chase the moon. A single thought can summon a golden body. Of course, getting bigger and smaller is just incidental. The really powerful thing about this magical power is that it can make the density of one's own body change accordingly. If you have this magical power, you can bear the thunder with your physical body alone. Thinking of this, Yang Lin immediately stopped hesitating and started practicing according to Fa Tian Xiangdi's cultivation method. And while he was concentrating on practicing, the internet in Long Kingdom was in an uproar. The unusual celestial phenomenon that just occurred affected 2 provinces. Nearly 100 million people witnessed the rolling thunder with their own eyes. Many people are still immersed in that doomsday scene. So after the celestial phenomenon ended, they immediately started discussing it online and immediately uploaded the photos and videos they had just taken. And their move also triggered more discussions. Did you all see it just now? It was so scary that day. I have lived for almost 30 years, and I have never seen such outrageous weather. It was like a whole year of thunder concentrated into just a moment. The key problem is that this kind of weather actually appeared twice today, and each time it was more severe than the last. Everything about this year has been very unusual. It feels like something big is going to happen. And didn't you notice that all the thunder and lightning were concentrated in one direction? Especially the last time, all the thunder struck in one direction. Either a monster was born, or an immortal passed through a tribulation. Why are there no experts coming out to explain this at this time? I guess even the experts can't explain it. If this were put into science, it would have been filmed for more than a dozen issues, and then it would have been explained as an abnormal thunderstorm. Are these 2 things also related to Yang Lin? I'll post a photo and you'll know what this is all about. While everyone was letting their imaginations run wild, a netizen with an IP address of Luteng City posted a photo. In the photo, the lightning formed a huge vortex, and the center of the vortex pointed directly at a certain mountain. While everyone was shocked, a netizen also recognized the location in the photo. Let me go, why does this place look so much like Geelong Mountain near Luteng City? Really, no, I have to go take a look. Maybe some heaven and earth spiritual treasure will be born. I'll go too, let's all go together in a group. After some discussion, a group of local netizens from Luteng City soon agreed to explore Geelong Mountain together. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 344. Chen Ming, male, 31 years old, is a well-known adventure up owner on Xiaopo.com, with 200,000 fans, and currently lives in Luteng City. After the Geelong Mountain adventure was posted online, he was the first to respond, and soon contacted several other netizens who were also in Luteng City. In just 10 minutes, they gathered at a bus stop in Luteng City. Although the rain was still heavy at the moment, it could not dampen the enthusiasm in their hearts. Brother Chen, this is Hui Kai Fugui who just sent you a private message. On the bus stop, a trendy young man who looked to be in his early 20s shouted excitedly after seeing Chen Ming's off-road vehicle. In addition, there was a young woman holding an umbrella and wearing outdoor clothing next to him, and a young man holding photography equipment and carrying a huge mountaineering bag. After seeing these people, Chen Ming immediately stepped on the brakes, opened the car window and shouted loudly to the people outside. "Get in the car quickly." "Okay." While talking, a group of 3 people got into Chen Ming's off-road vehicle one after another. After getting in the car, Chen Ming drove the car onto the main road and said casually, "You should bring everything you need to bring." Although this Geelong mountain has been developed, there is still a large area of virgin forest landform. I don't know if there are any wild animals inside. Someone even photographed a tiger there 2 days ago. We have to be careful. As soon as Chen Ming finished speaking, the man sitting behind with a backpack quickly patted his backpack. "Brother Chen, don't worry, I brought all the outdoor supplies I need to bring. Tent, compass, gas stove, and a few smoke bombs I bought online. I also specially added chili powder in it, so it will be absolutely no problem against ordinary beasts. I'm ready to." Hui Kai Fugui, who was sitting in the passenger seat, also hurriedly added. The next second he took out a ferocious-looking compound crossbow. When Chen Ming on the side saw the composite crossbow with his peripheral vision, his expression immediately changed. The car was distracted and almost collided with the car next to it. "Where did you get this thing? If the live broadcast starts later, you must not take it out. If you dare to take it out, just wait to be reported. Besides, we are going on an adventure this time, not illegal hunting. What's the use of bringing this thing with us?" Hearing Chen Ming's scolding, Hui Kai Fugui immediately put away the compound crossbow, and a trace of sarcasm appeared on his face. "Aren't I afraid of encountering danger on the mountain? Just because of the movement just now, maybe there is some evil spirit coming out of the mountain over there. It's always a comfort to have this mentality." However, as soon as he finished speaking, Chen Ming sneered and shook his head. "You are so naive. If the person who was struck by lightning is really a monster, do you think this thing in your hand can be useful?" "Ah, this." Hui Kai Fugui was confused for a while. "What do you think is that thing on Geelong Mountain? It can cause lightning to strike for nearly half an hour. If you ask me, it should be some kind of natural treasure that should never be born. That's how it is written in novels. I think so. If there is really any treasure, then we have to rush there quickly and don't let others get there first. It doesn't matter if it's a treasure or not, so many people on the internet are paying attention to this matter now. As long as we go there and shoot a few videos, won't we get traffic? It's strange to say the least. Why have there been so many strange things recently? Yesterday our landmaster even showed up." Amidst the discussion of several people, the off-road vehicle was getting closer and closer to Geelong Mountain. Soon they could see the mountains shrouded in clouds and mist. The originally inconspicuous hillock actually took on an ethereal look after repeated heavy rains. They vaguely felt that Geelong Mountain was different from the past, but they couldn't tell exactly what the difference was. But they didn't take this to heart. After finding a parking spot, they got out of the car with their belongings. At the same time, Chen Ming, who is the host of Up, also started live broadcast. Since the preview had been started in advance, many viewers poured into the live broadcast room just after it opened. Chen Ming also introduced it while walking into the mountains. Hello fellow water friends, we have now arrived at Jilong Mountain. Jilong Mountain is one of the famous mountains in Luteng City. Although it is not as famous as Longhu Mountain next door, it still has many legends and stories. According to legend, there were immortals practicing in the mountains here, and there were also divine tigers who achieved enlightenment here. Of course these are just legends, and no one has seen it so far. Our purpose today is to find the place where the abnormal thunderstorm occurred. With Chen Ming's few words, the audience's curiosity was completely aroused. Coupled with the photos and videos that have been widely circulated on the internet, netizens are increasingly looking forward to their trip to Jilong Mountain. While gasping for air, they suddenly realized a problem. They seemed to be lost. I do not know. After hearing the sound, the four of them looked at each other first, and then tiptoed toward the direction of the sound. Seeing that there were no more animals around, they breathed a sigh of relief. After walking only a few dozen meters, a huge pit appeared in front of them. This 2 meters long big footprints, what kind of creature would have left them behind? Only the filming equipment in my hand was still holding tightly. It was an irregular shape that was over 2 meters long, half a meter wide, and over 1 meter deep, wide at both ends and narrow in the middle. Where's your compass? Under normal circumstances, these animals should hide after seeing people. How could they stare at people like this? Where have you run off to? They didn't pay much attention until they noticed the shape of the pit. The things he carried were scattered all over the place. I'll go, these are footprints. This run lasted for more than an hour until they completely entered the core area of Jilong Mountain. Brother Chen, why do I feel that all the animals in Jilong Mountain are so strange? It feels like they have intelligence. Now they couldn't hold it any longer, and they started to run away desperately. What animal doesn't have an IQ? Just as the four of them were watching the group of small animals carefully, a huge black shadow suddenly passed over their heads. I lost it when I just ran away. Just when a few people were confused about what to do, a huge noise suddenly came from not far in front of them. As Huakai Fugui exclaimed, the four of them were immediately frightened out of their wits. Especially when those little animals looked at them like monkeys. Just when a few people were wondering where they had seen this irregular shape, they suddenly turned around and saw the footprints they left on the soft ground. At the beginning, several people were shocked. It feels like their eyes are a bit like the eyes that humans should have. Maybe they have all become sperms. Huh? Don't scare me. The sound seemed to be the footsteps of some giant creature, and it also seemed to be the sound of thunder. But that wasn't the end yet. After the black shadow flew by, a tiger roar sounded immediately afterwards. The movement made them tremble instantly. Not long after Chen Ming entered the mountain, small, spiritual animals emerged from the depths of the dense forest from time to time. No, I mean these animals all look smart. No matter how you look at them, they all look familiar. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 345. Deep in the mountains, as the heavy rain continued to fall, the deep pit measuring 2 square meters quickly filled with rainwater. After a while, it turned into a small puddle. Chen Ming and the other two stood around the puddle with dull expressions on their faces, their eyes filled with disbelief. It seems hard to believe that there is such a big footprint in the world. At this moment, Chen Ming's live broadcast room was already exploding. This thing is really a footprint, stop joking. Needless to say, this must be the program effect created by the anchor coming here in advance. That is to say, if you enlarge it according to this ratio, the giant who left this footprint is at least 200 meters tall. This looks like it was made artificially. Why doesn't it feel like it's artificially made? I want to know if it's artificial. Just keep walking and you'll find out. Yes, Anchor, stop standing there and walk forward quickly to see if there are any other footprints. Maybe he noticed the comments from the audience, or maybe he finally came to his senses. After Chen Ming and the four looked at each other, they continued walking forward in the direction of the footprints. Soon they found a second footprint more than 10 meters apart. This footprint is exactly the same as the previous one, except that one is the left foot and the other is the right foot. While shocked, several people also quickened their pace again. Soon they found the third and fourth footprints. As the number of footprints increases, their mentality gradually changes, and so do the viewers in the live broadcast room. If the first footprint was forged, then the subsequent ones are unlikely. Not only is the amount of work involved in making these footprints very large, but these footprints also look very fresh, as if they were left just now. It is simply impossible to do this with human power. At this moment, Chen Ming and the others finally panicked. The audience, who were skeptical before, were also excited now. No, why does this thing look more and more real? There won't really be a giant more than 200 meters tall in this mountain. There's no reason. If there really is such a big giant, there's no reason why we can't see him. But if it wasn't a giant, tell me, who would have left such a big footprint? It couldn't be that giant that was struck by lightning just now. Is there a possibility that those thunders gave birth to this giant? You should be Leijenzi. Why is this thing getting more and more mysterious? Isn't the anchor afraid? Don't go any further. Let's see what that giant looks like. As long as you seize this wave of opportunities, your traffic will take off. If your life is gone, why do you care about traffic or not? Just when the audience gradually believed that there was a 100-meter giant in the mountain, Chen Ming and the four began to quarrel. Brother Chen, I think we should go back. Yeah, it's so scary in this mountain. We have nothing on hand now. What if we really encounter that giant? I think life is more important. However, faced with the persuasion of several people, Chen Ming's attitude was extremely determined. No, we can't just go back. We have already come here, and we will see the giant soon. If we give up at this time, all the previous efforts will be in vain. And I have a hunch that as long as we continue to move forward, we will see the giant right away. Don't you want to become a big internet celebrity? Such opportunities don't always come around. Obviously, in the face of huge traffic and interests, Chen Ming has lost his fear and awe. The other three people seemed to be moved after listening to his story. The man among the young men and women finally made a decision. I agree with Brother Chen. Since this incident has happened to us, it is an opportunity given to us by God. If I give up, I probably won't see you again in this life. At this time, Hui Kai Fugui also wavered. Anyway, we can't find our way back for a while now, so we might as well go find that giant. As the three people expressed their opinions one after another, the only remaining woman could not say anything more. Soon the four of them were on the road to find the giant again. But what they didn't notice was that in the direction they were going, a big tree on the top of a big mountain suddenly fell down. Then large tracts of mountains began to move downwards. Following the huge footprints, the four people moved forward slowly. After walking about 100 meters, Chen Ming, who was walking at the front, suddenly squatted down. After looking at the footprints in front of him, he said with a little doubt, "Wait, do you think the footprints seem to be getting a little bigger?" After hearing his words, the remaining three people also quickly looked to the ground. Have it? It seems like a little bit. Why do the footprints get bigger for no reason? Is it an illusion? Absolutely impossible. As he spoke, Chen Ming took out his mobile phone in his pocket and turned on the ranging function. After measuring the footprints in front of me, I quickly came up with a figure. 2.28 meters. It then returned to the previous footprint, which was also measured using the ranging function. 2.13 meters. Although there was only a change of 15 centimeters, it made Chen Ming's complexion change suddenly. Noticing Chen Ming's abnormality, the other three people quickly asked with concern. "What's wrong, Brother Chen, is there something wrong?" "Yes, isn't there an error of more than 10 centimeters?" However, Chen Ming shook his head after hearing the words of several people. "This is not an error, but the giant is growing taller. In just a short time, he grew more than 10 meters taller." "What?" Once Chen Ming came to this conclusion, both the people present and the audience in the live broadcast room were instantly shocked. After just one step, it has grown more than 10 meters tall, and the bamboo shoots don't grow that fast either. If he continues to move forward at this pace, wouldn't he be going to break the whole world? When they think that they are about to see a huge monster several hundred meters high, many people suffer from macrophobia. The footprints that appeared next continued to verify their speculation. The footprints began to gradually increase in size. Soon it went from more than 2 meters to more than 3 meters. It has also changed from more than 3 meters to more than 5 meters. According to normal proportions, the size of the giant must be at least 500 meters away. But they didn't see anything. The so-called giants seemed to be invisible. Just when the four of them were trying to find where the giant was, a loud rumbling sound suddenly came from in front of them. In the horrified eyes of the four people, a mountain less than 500 meters in front of them suddenly split into two from the middle. A large number of rocks and trees rushed towards them like an avalanche. Everything along the way was instantly destroyed by its huge kinetic energy. When such a picture appeared in the live broadcast room, the audience in the live broadcast room immediately took a breath of cold air. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 346. Strictly speaking, Geelong Mountain is not a single mountain, but consists of dozens of large and small mountains that are connected together. Due to the consecutive days of drought, the mountains had already become dry and soft. This time, there was a sudden heavy rain, and the originally soft mountains suddenly swelled. The hilltop in front of everyone happened to have experienced a landslide before and lost most of its vegetation. Without the maintenance of plant roots and heavy rainfall in a short period of time, a large-scale mudslide finally occurred at this moment. The sound caused by its collapse could be heard for hundreds of miles. Even though Chen Ming and the others discovered this abnormality immediately, the speed of the mudslide was too fast. They turned around and ran only 10 meters, but the mudslide was already approaching them. A stone weighing over 1,000 kilograms passed by them under their noses and directly broke a big tree to their left. You can imagine what the consequences would be if such a stone fell on them. I'm afraid that he may not even need resuscitation, so he will be taken directly to the crematorium for cremation. At this moment, they only hated their parents for giving them two fewer legs, and their eyes were full of fear and regret. While running, I didn't forget to shout loudly. I'm dead this time. I told you not to go forward, don't go forward, now it's better, I think we will all be buried alive by the mudslide. Who would have thought that landslides would break out here for no reason? I've been really unlucky for 8 lifetimes. I followed you here to explore, and I lost my life. If this was buried, the search and rescue people might not be able to find us. Is there really no other way? What can we do? What we can do now is to bite the ID card in our mouth and wait for the search and rescue personnel to find us so that we can confirm the identity. I don't want to die yet. In an instant, the four people's hearts were filled with intense despair. At the same time, the mudslide was getting closer and closer, and it was less than 10 meters away from several people. It happened that at this moment, the girl among the four accidentally tripped over a pit on the ground. The whole person fell heavily to the ground. She didn't have time to think too much and immediately called for help to her boyfriend in front of her. But what she didn't expect was that her boyfriend, who had always been sworn to her in the past, would not even look back at her now. It's not that he didn't hear it, but that he chose to escape alone at this critical moment. Faced with such a result, the already desperate girl was completely heartbroken. He glanced back at the coming mudslide and then chose to close his eyes, waiting for death to come. But she waited for a long time but never came. Confused, she slowly opened her eyes. The moment she opened her eyes, she saw extremely thick fingers. That's right, it's the finger, with clear lines on it. It's just that these fingers are a bit scary thick, each one is more than 1 meter in diameter. The 5 roots put together look like a 5-finger mountain. With a trace of doubt, she quickly looked around. After taking a look, she realized that she was lying on a huge palm. With her were Chen Ming and 3 other people. The 3 of them seemed to be greatly frightened. They huddled there tightly, holding their heads tightly and shivering. What is happening? With such doubts, the girl looked around. Only then did she realize that she and others had been carried dozens of meters into the air by the huge palm. The raging mudslide was rolling under them at the moment, and soon it submerged a large area of forest. It is conceivable that if they were still on the ground now, they would have been buried under the mudslide. Saved. A slap can almost catch up with the basketball court. How big this giant must be. At this time, Chen Ming and the other 3 people who were holding their heads seemed to have come to their senses and opened their eyes one by one. At the same time, Chen Ming also took out his mobile phone and used the camera to try to take a picture of the giant. After they calmed down, they immediately checked the shooting equipment in their hands and the action cameras above their heads. By the time the 4 people reacted, they had been placed on a winding mountain road outside Geelong Mountain. The giant in the clouds and mist took one look at them and walked towards the mountain with huge steps. After confirming that he was not dreaming, the expression on his face was amazing. They had already prepared for Chen Ming and others to be submerged by mudslides. Moreover, this giant is so big that it can fit all 4 people in one hand. We're going red. He only left a majestic figure and a bizarre legend to everyone. Only when they raised their heads did they realize that except for the palms under their bodies, all other parts of the giant were hidden in the clouds. Hurry up and see what the giant looks like. It was almost a no-brainer to know what a sensation those videos would cause when they appeared online. At the same time, the audience in Chen Ming's live broadcast room were also shocked by the picture shown by Chen Ming's camera. It disappeared without a trace in 2 seconds. Then an idea came into their minds. What's the difference between the scene and this one? After making sure to record everything that had just happened, they immediately breathed a long sigh of relief. Confusion, shock, excitement, fear, and other complex emotions filled their eyes. While talking, the few people who had regained consciousness tried to look upward in the direction of the giant's wrist. I could only vaguely see a huge black shadow standing there motionless. After a long time, Hui Kai Fugui was the first to react, and Kuang gave himself 2 big butt pockets. But who would have thought that a giant suddenly jumped out and saved several people? Not to mention the face, not even the giant's body could be seen clearly. Oh my God, how come there are such big hands? Is this the giant just now? Obviously, we were saved by the giant, otherwise we would have been buried by the mudslide. Am I dreaming? Are we on the same palm now? Not long after the giant left, Chen Ming and the 4 of them looked at each other in confusion. There is a strong sense of oppression invisibly. They couldn't help but think of the Tathagata Buddha in myths and legends. Although she was still deeply shocked, the joy of surviving the disaster made the girl extremely excited. Just when everyone was looking at the giant black figure hidden in the clouds with dull expressions, the palm carrying several people dropped rapidly. But when they noticed that they were on a huge palm, their mouths suddenly opened wide and they were speechless for a long time. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 347. As a few people thought, as soon as they came down the mountain, the video they shot on Geelong Mountain had already spread on the internet. The huge giant footprints and the giant figure that finally appeared in the clouds and mist all gave people a strange and bizarre feeling. What also went viral were the photos and related videos of the interior of the sports center taken by a group of spectators at the sports center. Even though the most crucial part of praying for rain was not photographed, it still made netizens extremely excited. Without any surprise, these two things quickly ranked first and second on the hot list of Douyin short videos. Ranked third is the weather cloud map previously released by the Meteorological Bureau. Because these three things are more or less inseparable from Luteng City. Therefore, Luteng City, which was originally a little-known city, suddenly became a hot city in the country. If nothing else, a large number of tourists will come here in the next period of time. This overwhelming wealth once again caught the leadership team of Luteng City off guard. As the initiator of the series of events, Yang Lin was leisurely walking down the mountain at this moment. The original downpour had turned into a light drizzle after falling for nearly 2 or 3 hours. The land that has been dry for a long time is once again full of life under the moisture of rain. Seeing that everything in front of him was developing for the better, he couldn't help but have a smile on his face. Just as he was pacing down the mountain in the rain, figures appeared on the mountain road one after another. There were men and women, and they came in groups. Some drive cars and some ride motorcycles. Without exception, they all have filming equipment in their hands. One of the cars suddenly stopped when it drove next to Yang Lin. Yang Lin thought they recognized his identity. But when I thought about it carefully, I felt something was wrong, because at this moment he had turned into a white-haired old Taoist priest. "Uncle, did you come down from that mountain? Did you just see a giant on that mountain?" Yang Lin finally reacted when he saw a girl sticking her head out of the car window to ask questions. His expression didn't change at all. "I saw it, of course I saw it." After hearing Yang Lin's answer, the eyes of several people in the car almost started to light up. "It's true, uncle, don't lie to us." "Of course it's true. If you go here now, you can probably meet him." "Thank you, sir." Just when several young people in the car were about to say thank you, they suddenly discovered that there was no old man beside the car at all. Only a silhouette could be seen in the distance behind their car. In an instant, several people's faces turned pale. Half an hour later, Yang Lin, who came down from Geelong Mountain, finally returned to the hotel. But as soon as he stepped into the hotel door, he saw a series of scorching eyes. The next second, a group of Taoist priests wearing Taoist robes gathered around him. "Ancestral Master, you are finally back. We just couldn't find you anywhere. We have learned a lot by following you this time. Did you really come to the lower world to save people in distress? Is the thunder and lightning in the mountains just now related to you, the Ancestral Master? Ancestral Master, when will you return to the mountain with us?" This group of Taoist priests, whose average age is over 60 years old, are like children at this moment, with eyes full of curiosity and desire. At the same time, he was a little cautious, for fear of making Yang Lin unhappy if he asked too many questions. After Yang Lin heard their many questions, he first looked around and then made a silence gesture. After everyone saw this gesture, they immediately showed understanding expressions. The speaking voice couldn't help but become lower. "I didn't think carefully. I shouldn't have said these things in front of these ordinary people." When he heard this sentence, Yang Lin actually wanted to add something. "You are just a group of ordinary people." But when I think about it carefully, it seems that it is not quite accurate. These people participated in this Dharma gathering with him and gained more or less merits and insights. If you have a little bit of understanding, you will be able to enter the Tao in one day just like the previous heavenly master. After finally getting rid of the group of Taoist priests, they crowded around Yang Lin. Now he just wants to return to the room quickly to adjust his condition and consolidate his current state. The next second Yang Lin looked at the people around him and said. Half an hour later a distraction separated from his body. Yes, we are very strict. What's more, they can also reap many benefits in the process. Both body and soul are exhausted. Pandeo is a little tired. He probably won't go out today and tomorrow. If you have anything, just knock on the door. After carefully looking around, they suddenly lowered their voices. Remember what happened today, don't mention it to anyone, and don't mention Pandeo's identity. The required karma must also be an astronomical number. And mine, as long as you give me a call, we will book a flight and fly over immediately. After Yang Lin dismissed the group of people with a few words, apart from the hotel staff, only a few people from the program team were left in the entire hotel lobby. In response to these words of several people, Yang Lin just smiled without making any response and walked towards the interior of the hotel. The difficulty of the heavenly tribulation will increase geometrically. In addition, you must practice diligently after returning to the mountain. Yang Lin was not making excuses with this sentence. This is mine. Coupled with the magical powers of practicing the heavenly phenomena and the earth. Master Ancestor, this is my mobile phone number. If you need anything, remember to call us. Don't worry, none of us will say anything about this. I will definitely keep this in mind. Pandeo will need you in the future. But the difficulty of this last step is comparable to that from the beginning of his cultivation to the current Yangshen realm. To organize such a large ritual, he survived 2 catastrophes in a row. He was really tired. Teacher Yang, the giant on Jilong Mountain is also you, right? So as soon as he returned to the room, he immediately entered a state of trance. For them, it is a great honor to be commanded by Yang Lin. Of course, the most important point is how to cross that last step. As soon as Yang Lin said these words, the group of Taoist priests present immediately beamed with joy. Although they also participated in praying for rain this time, because they did not start the live broadcast, the whole process was basically just soy sauce. At this moment, he has reached the Yangshen realm and is one step away from ascending to immortality. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 348. Originally, Yang Lin thought that since he had 3 immortal treasures, it would not be a big problem to survive the catastrophe. But the Yangshen tribulation not long ago gave him a blow in the head. He almost used all 3 immortal treasures before he could offset them. The power of the true immortal heavenly tribulation is at least 10 times that of the Yangshen tribulation. So he can basically be sure that if he goes through the tribulation in his current state, he will 100% die. Even for this purpose, he used Tiandeo to create a simulated environment in the network. In this simulated environment, he survived a total of 100 true immortal tribulations. It only succeeded once. The price this time was that he blew up the 3 immortal treasures. It can be imagined that if you want to survive the true immortal tribulation in a normal way, it will be extremely difficult. Therefore, he finally thought of a way, which was to share the power of the heavenly tribulation. Just like praying for rain this time. In the hotel room, as a distraction separated from Yang Lin's body, this distraction soon turned into a middle-aged Taoist who looked somewhat similar to Yang Lin. Yang Lin also opened his eyes at this moment. After quietly looking at this distraction, he took out a piece of peachwood from his cuff. As the sword light lit up, the piece of peachwood quickly turned into a wooden man. When the distraction on the side saw this, it immediately turned into a white light and merged into the wooden man's body. And with the integration of white light, the originally lifeless wooden man turned into a living person. From today on, you will be called Taoist, and these 2 things will be handed over to you for the time being. After speaking to the Taoist priest transformed from peach wood, Yang Lin took out the two immortal treasures, the gold book and the jade seal, from his sleeves. From today on, your task is to go to various parts of the Dragon Kingdom to search for immortals and gods on behalf of Pandeo, and register them one by one. Hearing Yang Lin's words, Taoist nodded immediately. After putting away the gold book and jade seal, he turned into a ray of light and disappeared into the room. When Taoist appeared again, he had already arrived in the city next door to Loteng City. After a little awareness, he walked straight towards a city god's temple in the city. At this moment, the city god's temple was also crowded with people, and a large number of pilgrims knelt down in front of the city god's statue. Each of them has different demands. Some pray for career, some pray for love, and some just pray for good health. Perhaps because they were too focused, no one noticed Taoist's arrival. He didn't even notice that Taoist took out the gold book and jade seal. After Taoist gently wrote a few big characters on the golden book, the statue of the city god that was sitting on the altar suddenly lit up. And such things soon started happening all over the Dragon Kingdom. Some gods that only existed in myths and legends in the past sprung up overnight like mushrooms after a rain. Some of them appear in front of people, while others silently fulfill various wishes for believers. When these deeds were uploaded to the internet one by one, the people of the Dragon Kingdom suddenly realized something. I don't know when the world was different from before. But if there really is a beginning, a figure appears in the minds of many people. Time soon came 2 days later, and everything in Loteng City began to return to normal. Even the filming work of the program team is the same. Early in the morning, several members of the program team stood guard at the door of Yang Lin's room. Before they could start knocking, the door to the room opened on its own. Yang Lin still appeared in front of several people as before. "Teacher Yang, you are finally willing to come out. If you don't show up again, your fans will call the police. Yes, you haven't shown up for several days. Some people have posted on the internet that you were struck to death by lightning while praying for rain. Are we shooting normally today?" As soon as the program team members finished speaking, Yang Lin nodded. "Of course, Pandeo has a hunch that there should be a big business coming today. Let's go, don't waste time." After saying this, she seemed to think of something again, and quickly picked up a register from the side. He walked to the office in a few seconds. Upon seeing this, several people from the program team rushed forward to help, but the old man seemed not to see them. And wouldn't it be better to seek help from the public security organs for this kind of matter? Why come to Teacher Yang? Looking for someone, then this matter will be easy to handle. The members of the Talking Room program team left the hotel under the leadership of Yang Lin, and 10 minutes later, they appeared in the top floor office of the Green Vine building. The next second, an old man wearing a white shirt and holding a bamboo cane walked out of the elevator with the support of a young boy. After hearing this question, Lin Hong thought for a while and then answered. The photo shows densely packed soldiers in military uniforms. After unraveling layer after layer, a yellowed old photo was revealed. Looking at the faces of several people, there was a look of surprise. As I said, it seems like I'm looking for someone, and there's more than one. That is to say, I thought it was some big deal. If I were to find someone, wouldn't I be able to find someone just by making a fortune? As soon as he finished speaking, the sound of the elevator door opening came from outside. The old man opened his mouth for a long time and finally said these vague words. Did this old gentleman say that he wanted to consult about anything? By the way, there is only his basic information here, and there is no appeal from him. Only Lin Hong was cleaning carefully inside. Tremblingly, he took out a cloth bag from his pocket. Boss, you are finally back. I thought the company had closed down again. Yesterday, a customer came to the door, but you are not here and I don't have your contact information, so I can only ask him to register first. Only a pair of eyes still had a hint of light. "I'm looking for someone, can you help me find them?" After saying that, several people looked at Lin Hong. The old man has white hair, his face is covered with age spots, and his body is so thin that a gust of wind can blow him over. Facing the doubts of several people, Lin Hong also shook her head. With that said, he handed the registration form in his hand to Yang Lin. "Yes, if I could live to be 96, I would probably have no desires or desires. He is about to turn 100 years old. At such an old age, what else can he ask for? By the way, he said that he will come again today. When he comes again, you will know if you ask carefully. I came back here again after a few days, and it was still so quiet that it made my head numb. This is the big customer you mentioned, Mr. Yang. He is indeed quite big. He is already 96 years old." After seeing Yang Lin and others walking in, a look of surprise suddenly appeared on her face. At this time, several members of the program team also looked at it curiously. After seeing Yang Lin, he suddenly quickened his pace. "You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes." Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 349. Looking at the old photos held by the old man in the office, everyone's eyebrows showed confusion for a moment. "Old sir, don't be anxious. Come in first, sit down and talk slowly." Although they were curious, the program team still invited the old man into the office very politely and brought him a cup of tea. After the old man's mood calmed down a little, everyone asked again. "Old man, are the people in the photo you just took your former comrades in arms? Were you separated from them?" After hearing these people's questions, the old man first looked at the photo, and then tears filled his eyes. "Yes, we have been separated for more than 80 years. I've been looking for them for the past 80 years, but I can't find them." As he spoke, he tremblingly took out a handkerchief from his coat pocket and wiped his tears. And several people from the program team on the side couldn't help but look at each other. Listening to what the old man said, combined with the old photo just now, they were basically sure that the person in this photo was probably no longer alive. Even if they didn't die on the battlefield, the chance of surviving after so many years was very slim. However, in order to take care of the old man's emotions, they still pointed to the people in the photo and said, "Old man, can you provide us with the number of your unit at that time? Maybe we can find them if we have the numbers." But just as a few people finished speaking, the young man who came in with the old man shook his head. "It's useless. I've already checked it with my grandfather, but I can't find the number of the unit they were in at that time. There are only two situations for such a result. Either their troops were withdrawn and merged into other troops at that time, or all the members of the entire army were killed. Well, that won't be easy. There are so many people and it's hard to find them one by one." While talking, the program team members fell into deep thought, but the audience in the live broadcast room became lively. It seems like this old man is a veteran of the anti-Japanese war. It goes without saying that the person in this photo is probably an entire company. The time spans almost a century. It is really difficult to find them all one by one. The key is that there is no information. We don't know their names or their places of origin. There was no relevant information about them at that time. Not to mention that the information is archived. Many people who died in battle did not even have names on their tombstones. They might have just joined the army the day before and died the next day. Where can I go to check? To put it bluntly, this old man may be the only person in this photo who is still alive. The old man is 96 years old this year. He was only about 10 years old more than 80 years ago, and he was still a child soldier. There were too many things like this in that era, and the tomb of the unknown soldier could be seen all over the country. In recent years, the country has also been trying to find ways to find relevant information about them, but it is really difficult. That's why they thought of Yang Lin. I sincerely hope that Yang Lin can help this old man this time. This has probably become his lifelong obsession. Just as the audience was talking to each other, the old man also began to tell his own story. I was 14 years old that year, and I was fighting guerrillas in the mountains with the army. As the old man narrated, the events of that year were gradually restored. According to the old man, he was arranged by the army to fetch water, and when he came back, there was no trace of the army. It was obvious that the old man's army had specially sent him away. What allows them to make such a decision must be because they are about to perform a dangerous mission. As soon as they heard this, the audience in the live broadcast room became more and more determined in their guesses. I am now 80% sure that all the old man's troops were probably sacrificed. Agree, and only in this way will the unit's designation be revoked. Oh, what I fear most is this outcome. Has it been moved to the martyrs' cemetery? You're right, but I just want to know where they are now. I sincerely hope that the veteran grandfather can see his comrades again, and I hope that their bones can appear in the martyrs' cemetery instead of being scattered in the wilderness. When Yao Yuan, the chief planner of the program team, received a call from the military, he was stunned. As the live broadcast progressed, what happened in the live broadcast room was uploaded to other platforms by netizens. Half an hour later, a group of people had arrived outside the Green Vine building. Just as the audience was talking about it, Yang Lin reached out and took the photo. Then this is a bit difficult to handle. Can you help me with my fortune telling? It wasn't until he saw Yang Lin nodding that he smiled. As the call ended, the program team also held an emergency meeting. It wasn't until the military explained its purpose that he remembered to check the content of Yang Lin's live broadcast room. In fact, old sir, you should already have the answer in your mind. Okay, we will cooperate fully. It soon attracted the attention of more netizens. Just a glance showed a hint of understanding on his face. If we can really find them, it will be a blessing. The next second he looked at the old man. Hearing Yang Lin's words, the old man glanced at him first, and then nodded dejectedly. A trace of hope flashed across the old man's face. This possibility cannot be ruled out, but there is a high probability that they were buried in the wilderness. Let me put it this way, it is not necessarily easier to find the Lord of Hell than to find Yang Lin. And the netizens here were sincerely happy for the old man after seeing Yang Lin agree. As a soldier, the last thing he believed in his life was the theory of gods and ghosts, but now he had no other choice but to place his hope on Yang Lin. A special project was soon launched to help veterans return home. Even some official organizations have forwarded it. Even if they were all sacrificed, I still want to know where they are buried. Just take a look. In particular, the military and related agencies of the Dragon Kingdom were the first to be contacted by the program team. I think there are more cases like this. There are countless anti-war martyrs buried in the wilderness across the country. No one knows yet. The old man found the right person this time. The first reaction was that he had been found out for committing something. After understanding the reason, he quickly agreed. So now looking for people has turned into looking for bones. I searched all the martyrs' cemeteries across the country, but I couldn't find any information about them. Entertainment, let you do a side job and set up a stall to tell fortunes. Author, Immortal Q int Love is. Chapter 350. On the first floor of Luteng building, when Yang Lin and others led the old man out of the door of the building, they were shocked by the scene they saw in front of them. Hundreds of people from Wuang and Wuang gathered there. There are many familiar faces among them. There are Yao Yuan, the chief planner of the program team, Zhao Dongsheng, the mayor's secretary, and some members of the Luteng city leadership team. After seeing Yang Lin and others coming out, they immediately took the initiative to greet them. Daozang Yang, we just saw something about the old man on the internet, so we want to do our part. After meeting, Zhao Dongshen was the first to speak. After that, he started chatting with the old man again. Yang Lin didn't have much feeling about this. After looking around at everyone, he also said directly, "You came just in time. We really need a lot of manpower this time. By the way, did you just come here empty-handed?" Ah, after hearing Yang Lin's words, Zhao Dongshen looked at the people next to him, and then at himself as if he didn't understand what Yang Lin meant. "Do we need to prepare anything else?" Looking at the confused Zhao Dongshen, Yang Lin immediately said to a program staff member next to him, "Take them to buy some tools and come back. By the way, remember to ask Secretary Zhao to pay." "Good." As the staff member agreed, he quickly led Zhao Dongshen and others to find a labor insurance shop on the street. After a while, he came back with a large number of things. Among these tools are shovels, picks, and some cotton gloves and other supplies. Just when Zhao Dongshen thought it was over, Yang Lin asked him to buy a bunch of incense candles as tribute and white cloth. In total, Ling Ling spent tens of thousands of dollars on Zhao Dongshen, and his face twitched with distress. It wasn't until all the things were purchased that Yang Lin nodded. "Okay, get ready to go." "Where to?" "Go welcome those martyrs home." After saying these words calmly, Yang Lin turned around and got into the van of the program team. When other people present saw this, they first looked at each other, and then hurriedly got into their own vehicles. A group of dozens of vehicles, led by the program team's van, drove toward the outside of Luteng City. Until this moment, no one understood what Yang Lin was going to do. The only thing they can be sure of is that Yang Lin seems to already know the burial place of those martyrs. But Yang Lin didn't say anything, and they couldn't ask more questions. They can only choose to follow Yang Lin and others. And this one lasts 5 or 6 hours. Gradually, everyone could no longer see the traces of the city, and could only see the endless mountains and wilderness. Just when everyone was about to walk out of the borders of Luteng City, the van in which Yang Lin and others were riding finally stopped. At this moment, everyone discovered that they had unknowingly arrived in front of a small mountain village. However, this small mountain village does not look like a normal small mountain village. Instead, it looks like a developed leisure resort. There are fish ponds, fruit trees, and some simple recreational facilities. Seeing these things, everyone became more and more confused. After Zhao Dongshen looked at it for a while, he couldn't help but ask, "Taoist Yang, are we here?" Before Yang Lin could answer, the old man started to tremble with excitement. Judging from his expression, he seemed to know this place. And what he said next also verified this. "This is Shinya village, yes, it is Shinya village. I came here to fetch water. If I remember correctly, there was a big stone at the entrance of this village that looked like a cow." After hearing what the old man said, a staff member suddenly pointed to a place in the resort and said. But at the same time, there was a hint of doubt in his eyes. Perhaps because there have been no guests for a long time, there are no security personnel or anyone guarding the entrance of the resort. After seeing this big stone, the old man suddenly became more excited. The old man didn't seem to believe Yang Lin's words. After looking around, he suddenly fell into deep thought. Of course they are the comrades who came to see you. If Pandeo's calculation is correct, their bones should be buried nearby. Even if he didn't speak, everyone knew that the bones of those martyrs must be in this area. Iron tools can be used about 1 meter above the ground, but cannot be used below 1 meter. Okay, you divide into teams of 2. How can this be? All your comrades should have died in that direction. It is only about 5 kilometers away from the Shinya village you mentioned. At this time, there were many construction vehicles parked around the river valley, and a large number of stone building materials were also placed. After walking for about 2 kilometers, a valley area under development appeared in front of everyone. Apparently they are preparing to start construction here. Let's go while it's still early. But until now, they still had their doubts. You just need to dig according to the area defined by Pandeo later, and you will be able to find them. There were no blocking dogs, so everyone walked straight in and soon entered the interior of the resort. Where did you come from? Who asked you to dig here? After speaking, Yang Lin ignored everyone's looks and walked straight towards the interior of the resort. But just when they were about to start digging, a shout suddenly sounded behind them. If you don't use iron tools, what should you use? One of the attendants couldn't help but ask. There were only 2 pastoral dogs, one black and one yellow, lying there listlessly. The next second they picked up the tools spontaneously without saying anything. Dea Zhang Yang, why did you bring me here? Every 5 steps or so, a wooden stake is driven into the ground and a red thread is wrapped around the wooden stake. But at this time, Yang Lin stretched out his finger and pointed to the inside of the resort. As he spoke, Yang Lin took out the wooden stakes prepared in advance from a cloth bag he carried with him. Is it that rock over there? It took him about 10 minutes to circle an area about 100 meters long and 100 meters wide. Seeing Yang Lin and others coming over, they immediately became energetic, opened their mouths and started barking wildly. It wasn't until Yang Lin glared at them that they ran away with their tails between their legs as if they had seen something terrifying. This is the area. Everyone looked in the direction pointed by his finger, and sure enough they found a large stone that looked like an ox. As soon as Yang Lin said these words, everyone was startled at first, and then their mood immediately became heavy. Of course I used my hands. Only in this way can we ensure that the remains of those martyrs are not harmed.